So around this time every year, the Madden news starts coming down the pipeline. EA Sports typically leads off with new features, big additions, and things of that nature. But the hardcore community always asks the same question. What about the gameplay though? Features and new modes always sound great, but the gameplay is the most important piece of the puzzle, and that's an area that Madden hasn't exactly gotten right lately. Fixing the core gameplay and cleaning up a lot of past issues would make the gameplay a lot better, and would definitely get people more excited about these new features. Many people are concerned that the gameplay has once again been put on the back burner, as we haven't heard much about it yet. But there are some very important things that we do already know about the gameplay changes for Madden 20, and I'm going to talk about 5 of them in this video. Keep in mind, EA will be doing a complete breakdown of the gameplay fixes and changes on May 23rd, so I'll definitely be doing an updated video to break down everything that you need to know. Make sure to be subscribed and turn on the bell notifications so that you do not miss that video or any of the other important Madden 20 news that I'll be dropping in the coming weeks. So let's talk about what we know about Madden 20's gameplay so far. Some of this information was revealed in a Game Informer article, and other things I have heard directly from the source himself, Clint Odenberg, the lead gameplay guy for Madden. So number 1 on the list is that Madden 20 is said to be the cleanest, most bug-free Madden we have had in a long time. Now I know that just kind of sounds like, oh well, of course they're going to say that, that's what they're going to say to sell the game, but honestly they have not said anything like that in years past. They have not ever proclaimed that they had the most bug-free and clean game that we've seen in a long time. Things like animations being cleaned up, things like a bunch of past legacy issues fixed. You know, we've heard Rex Dixon talk about wanting to do this when he was at EA, and it kind of wasn't really what the upper echelon of EA, the top guys, really wanted to invest in, but it seems like they have started to change their tune, as last year they patched the game more than ever, and now they're starting to see that having good gameplay, even though it should be obvious, is crucial to your game. So let's take a look at some of the info that we have had directly from this. It says, EA Sports and developer EA Tiburon just announced Madden 20 for August 2nd, and while there are some sweet sounding new features, fans want to know that the underlying gameplay is fixed. Last year's title was not only buggy at launch and beyond, but there were also plenty of complaints about key aspects like running, blocking, and catching. Now Mike Young said, there's probably going to be a laundry list of things that the community would be excited about. I think we did a lot with animations. It's a cleaner and a more bug-free game. One of the structural things the team did to improve the gameplay this time around was to address bugs and tune the gameplay as they went along instead of trying to do it all at the end of development. Young says the game was playable earlier than ever, and this has helped them fix more bugs than previous years. Young says the shifted development timeline has even resulted in a gameplay feature that is being internally tested for possible inclusion, meaning because they were able to get the game in a much more playable state earlier this year, they actually have been kind of awarded more time by default to actually include some more things. Now, that's what Mike Young said in the Game Informer article, but what Clint Odenberg told me specifically, because I was talking to him about the new superstar abilities in the game, and he said to me, because obviously there was some concerns about, well, why are you putting abilities in the game if the gameplay still isn't right? You need to fix the gameplay before adding abilities. And what Clint told me, he said, what hasn't been talked about yet are the gameplay improvements, which is coming on May 23rd. He said the Superstar feature was an easy feature to build. It really didn't take a huge amount of development time as certain features do, so they said they had a lot of time this year, more than in years past, to actually clean up the gameplay and balance the gameplay. They had a lot of time and resources to make sure the gameplay got much more attention than it normally gets. And he also said that they're still not done, of course. They still have a few more months to even make the gameplay better than it is now, and he said, but he's very confident in saying it will be the most bug-free gameplay we've had in a while. And to kind of double back what Mike Young said about fixing it as they went along instead of fixing it at the end of development, I have, play tested Madden in early stages in previous years, like, playing it in April, and the game was extremely buggy because they had not begun cleaning it up yet. They would kind of try to wait till after April, May, June, July, and do all of their gameplay tuning and fixing and cleaning up the bugs and kind of getting feedback from us coming in and people at EA Play when they got their hands on the game. And what they kind of tried to do was just do too much gameplay tuning at the end, but now they started doing it throughout the process. Anytime they caught something, they just handled it right then and there. They kind of changed their strategy, and they noticed that, I mean, which probably should have went without saying, they should have already knew this, but it allowed them to have the game in a much better state than trying to fix everything at the end of development. So that is a really big change, and I'm confident that because of that, we will have a much more bug-free game this year. Number 2 on the list is animations have been cleaned up, which is what we just read from, that little thing from Mike Young. He said that the animations are cleaned up, something, Clint also kind of alluded to when we were talking. Animations, obviously, you can't really have a sports game that doesn't rely somewhat on animations. Obviously, you would like to see some better physics in Madden and have them, work a little bit more on that, but you still need animations. NBA 2K is, lives off animations. Every game needs these, especially sports games, but the animations in Madden are too dominant. They take user control away from you. A lot of times the 2-man animations where you got, a defender and a wide receiver going up for the ball, or you have a ball carrier and a linebacker and he's trying to fake you out. A lot of times you don't have complete control over your player. You get pulled into an animation, and that makes the gameplay worse. And this year they said the focus was they wanted to clean up those animations and make them less buggy. And the animations are still going to be there, but let's have them actually carry out properly instead of taking the user control away from players. So if they are able to actually nail that point, that's going to be huge for the gameplay. As we know, one of the biggest problems with the gameplay has always been those animations just being a little too overpowered. Number 3 on the list is another really big one here that they have revealed so far, is that RPOs are added to Madden 19, but not just RPOs, but there's going to be more playbook creativity than ever, and they're going to be updating the playbooks throughout the year. Now, they said last year that they had the tech to finally do that, but they only did very minor updates. This year, it sounds like from the article that they're going to be focusing a lot heavier on updating those playbooks. But the fact that RPOs are in the game, something that we were really hoping to have for 19, it's good that they finally was able to get it in this year. It says in this article, run pass option plays were absent last year, and then especially off of the back of the Eagles further popularizing them, people were expecting to have them in the game. At first, RPOs were considered too big to include, but Young says it was prototyped, polished, and added for Madden 20. Now, when they say it was too big to include, it was probably, but that sounds like to me, just kind of knowing from being there and knowing a little bit of the process, it was probably a feature that took a lot of resources to build properly, because they could have definitely put that in the game last year, but the key here is saying that they have it polished, because they could have put it in the game last year, kind of rushed it and not had it polished. And with the way the gameplay already is kind of buggy, having RPOs in the game and not have them working as intended would have been a problem for the gameplay. So instead of rushing that into the game and not having it polished, they wanted to actually take 2 years to build it out, which I don't think is a bad thing, because a lot of people say, hey, why don't they just take a year off and make everything better? But then when certain features don't make it into a game and they say, well, we took 2 years to do this and do it right, some people are still mad that they had to wait 2 years for it. So it's kind of like you can't please everybody, but the fact that those are in the game is going to be really huge for gameplay, I would hope. Mike Young says he says he thinks it's going to be big for the teams that have them in their playbook, and he said he believes that RPOs are going to give teams multiple strategies to win games, whether that's in franchise mode or you're playing online. Now, again, really going to be big for the game there, because we see a lot of people use the same things, but now adding run pass options into that could be really big. Number 4 on the list is something that I covered in a video 2 days ago, the new superstar ability. So if you want to know in depth about the superstar abilities, I will link the video in the description and in the comments below. But basically, how this is big for the gameplay is this is meant to make all of the players, the elite players, feel unique. So, in Madden, especially if you play online, like let's say Ultimate Team, for example, everybody wants to use Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson. A lot of people don't like to use Drew Brees or Tom Brady because, yes, they have good accuracy, but they're not really mobile in the pocket, so they're more of a disadvantage, because you can still make pretty good throws with Vick and Lamar Jackson, so you'd rather have the mobility than not have it. But now with these abilities, guys like Tom Brady and Drew Brees are going to get, they're going to have advantages of their, being their type of player. They're going to be able to be more accurate than these other guys, or, have more time in the pocket. We don't really know the entire breakdown of it yet because they've only revealed a little bit, but basically, everybody on the field is going to be unique. Adam Thielen, a lot of people don't consider him a threat in Madden because he's not super fast. He's not like your Tyreek Hills of the world, but he's a real danger in the slot. So he's going to have an ability to get more separation and be more effective in the slot because that's what he's good at in real life. Guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, he's really good in the open field, run after catch, so he's going to be better in those one-on-one situations where, you know, he's got a better chance of pulling away from his defender. And basically, there's going to be tons of these abilities for players in the game, so everybody is not going to play the exact same. Because the only main difference you notice in Madden right now is speed. That's the only thing that makes players really feel different. But now, players are going to have abilities based on what they're good at in real life, and it's going to make everybody on the field unique, which has been something Madden has needed for a long time now. Like I said, I give a much better breakdown of this in the video, so just check out the link in the description and in the comment below. Number 5 on the list is a secret feature. We don't know about this yet, but it sounds like we're going to get it in the game. Here in the article on Game Informer, going back to how they said they were able to clean up the gameplay throughout the year, what actually happened was they wound up having more time to include something else that they had originally built, because they had a bug in the game, so they built kind of this feature to fix the bug, because I guess it was a big bug. We don't know exactly what that bug is yet. I'm sure they'll let us know eventually, but they said that the feature wound up kind of taking a life of its own. He says right here, the shifted development timeline has resulted in a gameplay feature that is being internally playtested for possible inclusion. The Under Wraps feature was meant to fix a legacy issue in the game, but it actually became a new way to play the game. And he says hopefully this feature will make the beta as planned. So the fact that they're saying it is planned to make the beta means that this should absolutely be included in the game, because they wouldn't say it was planned to make it if it wasn't very likely to make it. So that is another big thing. We don't know what this feature is, but the fact that they're saying it's this secret feature, you know, any feature for gameplay, I'm always excited about. And I think anybody that really enjoys a good gameplay is going to be excited about any features to enhance the gameplay, because God knows Madden needs it. Madden's gameplay needs work. I think the superstar abilities are a great start in making players feel different and feel unique, but any other little feature we can get for gameplay is exciting. Just kind of like how we got target passing a year ago. It flopped, but the idea of it was cool. At least it was an attempt to have a new way to play the game. So hopefully this new feature isn't something that flops, but actually something that, like they said, it took a life of its own and actually became a good way to, you know, play the game. Hopefully we get to see what that is in the coming weeks. But those are the 5 things that we know so far. Are you excited about any of these? Are you going to be tuned in on May 23rd to see the other gameplay fixes? Let me know below, and as always, I will see you guys next time.